My name is Brunton, and I am the Managing Director and Lead Video Strategist at Brunton Media.
And could you expand a bit more on your role within the company?
Yeah, of course. My role in the company is multitude of factors, but the majority of the time I spend a lot of my time working directly with our clients to make sure they understand, firstly, how they can use video, secondly, should they use video, and then thirdly, how that process can be really smooth for them, and because a lot of people get really nervous and really worried about this setup in general, and they get very nervous and they get very anxious about it. So part of our job is to actually make sure that they're not anxious about it and they feel comfortable with what they're doing, they feel comfortable with how we're doing it, and also then why we're doing it and the content we're creating for them and what it can do for their business, which is the key. We're very business orientated, we're very business objective orientated. There's no point doing a video if it's not going to give you the opportunity to be able to upsell or sell more of your product or service.
So you've discussed who you are and what your role is, but how has your role changed as you brought on new members of staff?
So back in 2017, I was a solo videographer up to just before the pandemic, really. I was a solo videographer, I was just a solo operator, and I was also the only person in Brunton Media. And I saw a need and I saw an opportunity to be able to grow the company for us to actually be able to provide a better service. So my role has now changed from actually being a videographer specifically, and now working with other video professionals to help for our clients to articulate their message, and for us to be able to articulate our message as well. So depending on who we're referring to will depend on their role. So we have some of the team that mainly focus on internal content or content that's designed to help us market and to help you understand what we're going to be doing and helping your business achieve and how that really feels and sounds, and whether that's behind the scenes video on a shoot or whether that's through a podcast, for example. Or we've got a handful of freelancers that we also work with that are specifically tailored around the client work. So they might be overly experienced, or they might have a lot more experience than others, or they might just be better suited to that client, e.g. they have a better relationship, or they were the first person on that shoot. So every production person has a set of clients they work with us. I'm on set all of the time in most cases. There will be potentially a world where that does change, where I will be not available, but that's probably because I'm somewhere else doing the same job as well, and then you'll get to meet the guys you've also seen in other content, and they'll help you run the production just as I would. But in most cases, the reason why Sam, Luke, or Will be in a specific production is they already have that relationship with the client, because then they know how to work. They've got experience of working with that client. So then we don't have to spend as much time building that relationship with that new client. And that's why I like to keep each person separate, but also every person thinks about the project differently. They'll come up with different creative solutions. They'll come up with different ideas. They'll come up with different ways. That is also why they're on the project in the first place, because I can only think about a problem specifically my way, or I can only think of the problem or how to shoot something my way, because that's the way our brains are wired, right? We only think about the point A to point B in our own brain. So if Sam, Luke, Will are on a shoot, they'll think about a problem solving situation a different way to me, it's not better, it's not worse, it's just different. And in some cases, for that client or for that project, that's extremely valuable. And it also saves me a lot of time, because it means I don't have to worry necessarily about, are we in focus? Is the mic on? Is the camera batteries charged? Etc. Because what then I can do is I can work directly with the person we're working with, especially in an interview context, where I can actually talk to them and help them really understand the language we're trying to portray, but also be able for them to feel comfortable in this very intimidating environment.
So what you're saying is, rather than handling the more technical side of production, you're supporting the client and working directly with the client.
And I'm able to handhold the client. And I think one of the main things that we differ from other production companies and other marketing agencies and other video production houses as well, is that we'll take the time and the energy to firstly understand who that client is, who their market is, and what their business does. But then also we'll be able to handhold them all the way through the process, from firstly, what ideas do you have? What videos do you feel you want? or may not want, and then what objective is behind that idea, because we might change the kind of video we create for you if the objective or the business objective is different, and we feel that actually if you did this kind of video it would be better for you, then we will do that. And then when we establish what that video is that we're creating, I'll then handhold you through that process from initial consultation about the video all the way through final delivery, and I will oversee that specific process as well. So it's going to be in line with the strategy, it's going to be in line with the language you're already using in some of your written content perhaps, or maybe your podcast, etc., depending on what the other aspects of marketing you're doing. If not, and if you are looking to, then we can have that conversation and we can see what else we can support you with. But the main core is you can actually take the video and you can turn it into a blog, you can turn it into a podcast, you can turn it into snippets for social media, and then have the full video on your website. You can then have the full video to put wherever you feel is necessary for you to put it, and we can talk about that from a strategy context as well. But then, as I say, we're going to handhold you all the way through that process. And that's what I think one of our main ISPs is, or unique selling points is really as a company, is that we will take the time, we will take the energy to actually care about your business and understand your sales process, understand how video may be able to serve that sales process as well. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to invest any amount of money in anything, you need to make sure that it's going to actually help your business grow in one way or another.